And then also just Desmond Doss, the whole point of his story is that he is a man of faith who won't pick up a gun, and it's inspiring. And Mel Gibson doing it, he also did Passion of the Christ. He has a faith background. It's Catholic, but he respects that immensely and made sure that was essential to the story. And I think that that's so charming, even if you're not a Christian. I guess I haven't watched it from that perspective, but I still believe that affects people who have no faith in that, who have no shared faith as we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had some Seventh-day Adventist friends who really liked the movie because he was a Seventh-day Adventist, and that's like one of their principles that they believe in. So
yeah, I mean, I think I can understand why. It's just because like he stays so strongly to what he believes, regardless of regardless of what everyone else the world is telling him to do. He remains rooted in what he knows and what he believes.
Yeah. One of his quotes is, "I don't know how I'm going to live with myself if I don't stay true to what I believe." That just shows his deep dissatisfaction with even the thought of giving up on this. And it's shown not only through the war scenes where he's saving people as a medic, but he's also, when people are beating him up more or less, and he just goes to bed, and the sergeant just says, "What happened?" He's like, "I fell." He's like, "I'm not going to cause trouble. I'm not going to point blame. I'm just going to," what's the phrase? Is it "take your lumps"? I feel like that's a really old.
Take the punches as they come or something like that, maybe.
Yeah. "Take your lumps" is a phrase. To be criticized or beaten as a punishment. That's so weird.
I mean, the other thing about Hacksaw Ridge is that it's a great movie, like just in regards to acting and visuals and all of that, again, cinematography and all the technical side of that. It's a great film. And again, when I watched it with my family, it's a great film when you don't say anything and you focus completely on the movie itself. And that happened with like the one scene that everyone knows if you watch it, where he reaches like that point where he's up on the top of the hill, and it has that sequence where he's saving guys and he's throwing them, sending them down with the rope, and you see his hands burn, and he's saying one more, over and over and over again. Like that scene was so powerful. And I don't say that lightly, because I think I've mentioned it before in other episodes, but I generally am not emotionally affected by most films. Like it takes a lot to stir something in me. Like I can watch most films and enjoy it, but it's not, it doesn't usually have that much depth. Usually doesn't strike that deeply into me, you could say. But this one really did. And so I think that can really speak to the great care that this film was made with, and how good of a job it does. Because like when you reach the point where like you are focused completely on this one scenario, and this guy who is like pretty much generally doing a miracle right now, saving so many people throughout an entire night, and just like the turmoil and the struggle that he goes through, and at the end, and all it's just it's incredible. So yeah, it's a good film, and it's also a very good Christian film, I would say, as well, which is for all the reasons you've pointed out to. And that's a very weird thing to say, because it is a war movie, but it's also a Christian film, in the sense that it's portraying Christianity and somebody who follows a belief system in Christianity, and how that motivates and impacts them, and the impact that he has, and the miracle that he performs essentially by like surviving on top of that cliff. So it's a weird thing to kind of have those two be combined, because like when you think of the Christianity, at least in like a bit more of a popular setting, you think of like, it's not always, but you usually tend to like think of more like fluffy peace and love type of an idea of compassion and tolerance and all of those things, and those are components of the Christian faith. But that's like, I think this film does a very good job at portraying the depth and how do I want to word this? I think this film does a really good job at portraying like the depth that a faith can have and the impact that it can have. But like, there's like a lot you can unpack with that, just for like, the Christianity and war movies and how exactly we should relate about that.